Good morning. I'd like to call the February 2024 WKU staff meeting to order. The chair, Jordan Basham. I'd like to welcome you all here at DSU and those that are joining us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Get started with our roll call. Regent Brinkley. Present. And Senator Kanzler. Present. Senator Chadwick.
Present.
Senator Gilbert. Present. Senator Henry.
Present.
Senator Hopwood. Senator Inglis. Senator Johnson. Senator Lindsey Jones. Senator Rhonda Jones. Senator Calkins.
Present.
Senator Moran.
Present.
Senator Purdy.
Present.
Vice Chair Stoll.
Present.
Senator Vanderpool.
Present.
Senator Vincent.
Present.
And Senator Wright. Awesome. Thank you all for being here today. I skipped a few people who had notified us that they're on vacation or have other work responsibilities. So we definitely have a quorum, so we'll get rolling through our agenda. The agenda for today was distributed to the Senate members electronically and to the WKU community. I'd like to ask that we accept that via unanimous consent. There are no objections. Okay, our agenda is accepted. As well, our prior monthly minutes were distributed. Same thing, I'd like to ask those who are accepted with unanimous consent, if there are no changes or objections to that. Hearing none, those are also accepted. And Senator Vincent, I'd like to recognize you to start our Christopher Ware Staff Star Awards. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. 3 years ago this month, the Staff Senate awarded the first ever Staff Star Award. In memory of his outstanding contributions to WKU, the first award went to the late Christopher Ware. He was a member of the Senate and had a vital role in creating the Staff Star Award. He envisioned creating a way to recognize and show appreciation to the amazing members across campus. In his honor, the award was renamed in memory of his unexpected passing in December of 2020. In the last 3 years, the Senate has recognized 101 WKU staff members across campus. These individuals go above and beyond and have made a difference in so many lives. It is my pleasure to recognize 3 new staff members this month. Our first Christopher Ware Staff Star Award goes to Mary Evans. Mary is the program developer in the Center of the Gifted Studies. This is from her nominator. Mary Evans is a valuable member of our team and the WKU community, not only for her work, but also for the optimism and warm spirit she brings to the Hill daily. Mary genuinely cares about everyone she meets, and you can count on her to share the optimistic outlook of any situation. She empowers people through her encouraging words and provides constructive feedback, always with an eye towards improving opportunities offered through the center. In addition to teaching and mentoring graduate students, Mary has taken the lead with planning our Super Saturdays program that serves students in 1st through 6th grade. She also leads in providing guidance for parents of advanced students and in planning professional learning for superintendents, principals, and gifted and talented coordinators and teachers. While there is so much to be admired about Mary's work, what makes her stand out is her heart. Mary makes each member of our team feel valued and appreciated, even writing poetry to celebrate staff members as they retire or pursue other opportunities. The Center of Gifted Studies is a small staff that is able to do big things because of Mary's leadership, support, and kindness. Also speaking on behalf of her today is Dr. Julia Roberts, Professor of Gifted Studies and Executive Director of the Center for Gifted Studies.
Thank you. Good morning. How wonderful to be here to recognize someone that we at the Center for Gifted Studies care so much about, Mary Evans. When a colleague is also a friend, it makes the office a special place to be. Mary Evans is a friend as well as a fellow staff member to each of us at the Center for Gifted Studies. Mary is a colleague you can count on. When she says she'll do something, there's no need to check on whether it's been done, and you can be certain whatever is done well. Mary makes presentations to teachers, principals, superintendents, and parents on topics of interest to them. She prepares materials that support children and young people with gifts and talents. Mary is at the helm of planning and implementing Super Saturdays in the fall and winter. Currently, 400 children are enrolled in winter Super Saturdays in classes of no more than 16. Now think of how many different classes that is. As a teacher for children in Camp Explore or Camp Innovate, Mary has the children engaged in learning. Mary is also a caring and well-informed teacher for teachers in Jefferson County as they complete graduate work in gifted education. Dr. Mary Evans is a friend and colleague extraordinaire. Congratulations on this very special award, Mary.
Thank you.
Our next Christopher Ware Staff Star Award goes to Jennifer Holland. She is Assistant Director for Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement. Speaking on her behalf is Dr. Anthony McAfee, Director of the WKU Youth Alumni Association.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to recognize our staff members who contribute to the university in amazing and different ways. And the Division of Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement, we have kind of 5 core values that drive our work, and resilience and a positive and supportive culture are 2 that Jen constantly exemplifies for us. Proud of the growth that she's demonstrated during her tenure at WKU. She started with us as a part-time office coordinator and has risen into her role now, manages her own program portfolio. And most importantly, she represents the university in so many different ways that many folks don't see on a daily basis. Being in the Martins Alumni Center, we have, of course, the campus tours. We're honored to have the campus tours start in our facility. And sometimes families show up unannounced or on Eastern time when we're on Central, et cetera. And Jen, more times than not, is our staff member that leaps into action, reaches out to our friends in the Office of Admissions, finds any available student to potentially host our students and their families here on a tour, and to really make them feel like they're the shiny one in this facility or at this institution, and to really kind of take what could be a tragedy and make it into potentially a potential student for WKU. This is one of the many examples where Jen will just kind of spring into action and demonstrate her resilience. Positive and supportive culture, you couldn't ask for a better representative. And most recently, one of the things that inspired me to nominate Jen for the honor is while we were enjoying our winter break, most of us were, Jen was representing not only the Division of Philanthropy and Alumni Engagement, but also partnering with our partners in Hilltopper Athletic Foundation to not only just host an event at the famous Toastery Bowl, but really kind of be a customer service rep there. A lot of questions and whatnot. And so Jen was constantly in touch, helping our alumni, donors, fans, and constituents find the information and find community and pull out a victory in the end. So that was a positive. So Jen, very proud of you and your growth. Keep it up and keep being a model for other staff members. So.
We're getting to a point where we have to do TikToks or
That problem? Our final Staff Star Award goes to Suzanne Moore. Suzanne is a senior academic advisor in the Academic Advising Association, or ACDC. Speaking on behalf of Suzanne is Marissa Bryant, Associate Director of Academic Advising.
No, it's fine. It takes me a little while to get up here. Good morning, everyone. So excited to be here. I have had the privilege of working with Suzanne Moore for several years now, and I really and truly cannot say enough wonderful things about her. I will try to highlight all of the things that she has done over the last few years because she is such a vital part of our team. So Suzanne, when I think about Suzanne, I think about her positivity. She truly tries to be a positive force in our office to just encourage her coworkers. She's always taking extra time to go above and beyond to do fun things in our office to create a fun environment where we all enjoy coming to the office and getting a chance to, hang out together and, might be organizing a potluck or putting something fun on our random channel in Slack to keep us encouraged. So she really takes that extra time to think through how she can positively impact her coworkers. She is a great mentor for our new advisors. She is always welcoming to them, makes them feel like they belong from the moment they start in our department. She is part of our onboarding and new advisor training process. So if you are an advisor on campus, you may have worked with her in some way with that. So she really takes time with all of that. I'll go off script here, so I try to stay on my notes. I can ramble sometimes, y'all. Let's see. She has a lot of knowledge with advising. She's advised for multiple different colleges. She has usually anywhere from a caseload of, around 250 students each semester. And she started as an academic advisor and she worked over the years really, really hard. And she's a senior advisor for us now. She has great leadership skills. She leads a team of advisors as well as balancing a caseload of students. And she is just always stepping up to the challenge, no matter what that is. Whatever we ask her to do, she is always one of the first ones to volunteer to do it. And not only does she do it, but she also gets other people on board and helps them to see the value of why we're doing things. So we really appreciate her leadership in that regard and just the way that she encourages other team members to do that. She goes above and beyond for students. I can't talk about how many times she has gone above and beyond. She truly is an advocate for our students. If a student needs something, she will go to multiple different departments to try to figure out what would be the best resources. She will help that student get connected. I have seen her follow up with students multiple times and meet with them way more than maybe she would have to meet with another student just because that student needed a little extra support that semester. And that makes a big difference in that student's experience here at WKU. We are so very grateful that she is part of our ACDC team. And I think she's an asset to the university. She definitely has that WKU spirit. And we are just so grateful for all that she does. She's grown so much in this role over the last couple of years. And I'm just glad that I've been able to witness that growth and see all that she's accomplished. Congratulations. You truly deserve it.
Thank you all for the great nominations. Don't forget, if you work with someone or you know someone that needs to be recognized, just go to our website and you can submit their nomination on our website. Thank you again.
I know a few of our guests that were here for the Christopher Ware Staff Star Awards have very limited schedules and have to exit, so we appreciate their attendance and supporting their colleagues. Our next item, we'll have a special guest speaker, Dr. Eaglehauser. If you come up and join us. I'd like to also extend a thanks to Senator Henry for helping arrange this presentation. This is part of our ongoing series of speakers who the Senate has agreed topics that might help enrich the overall WKU staff community through the information that can be provided by on-campus resources. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I'm gonna put my phone up here so that I don't go too long. I'm used to teaching for an hour and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna try to scale this down. And I just also, so I'm Stacy Biebelhauser. I have taught tax the basic tax course here at WKU. I'm on my 21st year. And I swear I love it just as much today as I did the day I started. So I think it's a fun job. I will tell you, I'm just scratching the surface. So if I say anything that maybe piques your interest, or you're like, that might be something that would apply, you're going to have to dig deeper than what I can possibly get into here today. But I just wanted to address some of the questions that you guys asked. So let me see if my thing's going to work or if I'm done. Oh, it does. Gosh, it never happens in Bryce. Okay, so are there any new tax regulations or laws that regular people, and I think I'm a regular person, I don't have a lot of complex stuff on my return, I have a W-2 and a little, maybe a bit of interest or something, but people like us should know about. And really over the last couple of years, after we got through all the COVID stuff that had a lot of temporary changes, things have really settled down for the regular taxpayer. There haven't been a lot of changes on anything like the child tax credits, all the same as it was last year or the last couple of years, child independent credit, things like that are all kind of the same. A few things though that have cropped up in 2023 and will go on actually for the next 10 years are a revamp of some of the energy credits that the government is trying to incentivize people to make improvements to their existing homes that would make them more energy efficient. So that might be something that's kind of new. A lot of these credits were in place before, but they had like a lifetime limit. And so they've opened them up with no lifetime limit. So things like if you are getting new insulation in your home, new windows, new exterior doors and skylights, there's a credit available that maxes, it's 30% of the cost of those items. It maxes out at $1,200 a year, and certain components have certain limits. So like if you need a new door for your house, you want a new exterior door. Well, the credit for that maxes out at $250 per door. So that's the 30% though. So if you buy a door that's $800, then $240 you could use as a credit, so long as that exterior door meets the specifications to be energy efficient. The doors are like the maximum per year is $500, but that used to be the lifetime max. And so now you could do that again, like if you did it in 2023, accidentally and didn't even know about the credit, you can take it then, you can do it again in 2024 and on for as many doors as you have. Windows, the credit is up to $600 in 1 year, but then again, you can do that in subsequent years. So that is one. You also get them for your heat pumps and air conditioning units. That credit, it's also 30%, but that can go as high as $2,000 in a year. So if you are in the unfortunate position of having to replace your central air conditioning system or your heat pump goes out, there's a credit available for that. And then the one that you may have heard about here and there, of course, are the electric vehicles. Oh, let me just say, and then there's one for solar panels if you want to really get fancy and start using some solar energy. But all of that is on existing construction, not new construction. So it's to improve your home. The EV credit can get up to, you can get up to $7,500 in credit if you want to buy an electric vehicle. It has to be a new one. So that makes me think they're going to be pretty darn expensive. But anyway, you need to really check with the dealer. There's only a certain number of cars every year that they will allow the manufacturers to grant the credit on. So it's like if you buy late in 2024 and you're going to buy a new vehicle, you may not get the credit that year because it may be used up from other people all over the country. So you just kind of have to do some double checking on that one. But those are some, as you probably know, with the high amount of the standard deduction now, there aren't as many just deductions that we regular people can take. So the credits are maybe a little bit more taxpayer friendly. Another question that we have are what are deductions that people can take that aren't common knowledge? And I don't really know of any that aren't common knowledge, but I know one that I think is really good that maybe people don't understand as broad as it can be, and that is the health savings account. And we have access to that pretty easily through WKU. But a health savings account can also be treated like a retirement account, except it can be a little better. So when you set money aside in your HSA, that is essentially a tax deduction. It's coming right off your income. You're not paying tax on that money. So the very first dollar that you put in there is not taxed, right? So that's a tax deduction essentially. It's going to grow tax-free while it's sitting in there if you invest it. And we have the option to invest some of our HSA. You're not going to lose it. So you can just, if you aren't sick often, you can just build up money in that HSA. Now, if you take money out and you spend it on qualified medical expenses, it's never taxed. And for example, here's kind of the retirement slant I was going to put on it. Last year, I had to do physical therapy for a few weeks, and I think my bill was around $450. So I decided to just pay that out of my checking account. But I've saved that receipt, and I can save that receipt for 10 years if I want. But anytime in the future that I want that $400 back, I can turn that into my HSA and they'll pay me that money. So if you can, while you're working, put money in your HSA, but pay some of your smaller medical expenses and keep your money in there, then when you need it, or when you retire and you want to pull some money out like tax-free, you can submit those receipts 10 years down the road and you can get that money back. And it's a medical expense reimbursement. So, you're kind of stockpiling money in there till you retire. You can use the money in retirement to pay your Medicare premium, the supplements, if you want supplements. If you quit work before you're 65 and you don't get on Medicare, you can use your HSA money to pay your health insurance for that gap before you get on like Medicare. And then the last thing is, now, if you're under 65 and you take the money out and you don't spend it on medical, this is the big negative. You have to pay tax on it and you have a 20% penalty. But if you can leave the money in there until you're 65, if you pull it out at age 65 and you use it on medical, there's no tax. But if you pull it out and use it just to live on, you pay tax on it, but you do that with a 401k, right? Or a 403b. You put money in there, it's tax deferred. When you take it out, you pay tax on it. You can do the same thing with your HSA if you're not using it for medical expenses. You pull it out and use it for medical, or you pull it out as a reimbursement for expenses you had a long time ago, it's not taxed at all. So anyway, that's kind of my big selling point for HSAs. I think they're more flexible in that regard than people expect. Just the big downfall is a 20% penalty if you're under 65 and you don't use it for medical.
I have a question. So if you retire from WKU, we couldn't leave it in the WKU HSA, we would roll it over into a different HSA?
I believe so, and I would double check that, but I believe that that is the case, and I'm not sure. I'm sure they probably don't want us to leave it here, but that would be a benefit, it's probably fine. So, yeah. Okay. So I can go a little faster now. Those were my two big ones. What happens if I can't pay my taxes, if I owe a lot? Can I set up payment arrangements? Absolutely. They are happy to do that for you. If you can pay your taxes in less than 6 months, in less than 180 days, there's no fee for setting it up. You can do it online. You go to irs.gov, type in payment plan, it'll pop up and you just put in an application. It's real quick. They're going to let you pay it off however you want in that 6 months. You are going to have penalties and interest, but you're not going to be getting nasty notes or anything from the IRS and be on bad terms with them. They don't care. They're just doing their job. If they can help you set up a payment plan, they're happy to do that. If it's more than 180 days, you owe a lot and it's going to take you more than 6 months, you have to do an installment agreement application. Same thing, irs.gov, look up installment agreement. There's a fee for that one, but you can set it up on whatever payment you can make. They want you to be able to make the payment. They're not going to try to pressure you into making a payment that you can't make. So from taxpayers that I've worked with on that, they've been very friendly about that, very easy to work with on that thing. The Kentucky-Tennessee question, right? I live in Tennessee, don't have to pay income tax. It's great, but then I work in Kentucky and Kentucky wants income tax. Yes, they do. They want income tax in Kentucky from people that live in Kentucky and work in Kentucky, people that live in Kentucky, work in Tennessee, and people that live in Tennessee and work in Kentucky. They want all of it, right? So, if you live in Indiana and work in Kentucky, you have the same issue, but they do have a reciprocal agreement. So you're not paying tax in both states. But Tennessee doesn't have an income tax on like wages and salaries and things. So yes, the portion of your income that you earn in Kentucky is going to be subject to Kentucky tax. You have to fill out a non-resident form. It will just be on the stuff that's earned in Kentucky. So if you're married and your spouse has income in Tennessee, that's not going to get hit with Kentucky tax, but it will be hit with Kentucky tax. The good news is the state tax rate is going down and is supposed to continue to go down in the future. So I think we were at 6%, then we went to 5%, now we're at 4%. So I think the ultimate plan is that goes away, just like Tennessee, to make us a more friendly state. So we'll see. So that could help you guys out. And then I also want to mention, do you have a question? Itemized deductions. I said there's not a lot of deductions that we can take because our standard deduction is so high. Not on the Kentucky return, right? The Kentucky return, the standard deduction is somewhere around $2,900. The only things, though, that you can deduct now on Kentucky, they've nixed a whole bunch of it, but it's charitable contributions and like your home mortgage interest. And then your gambling losses, and I hope you don't have many of those. I know you have more gambling winnings. So you can deduct those things if you have gambling winnings. You can deduct those things on Kentucky. So all your property tax, car taxes, that stuff's not deductible anymore. You don't have to keep up with that. And I'm probably not going to itemize on federal, so you don't need it for that either. But you folks who live in Tennessee and work in Kentucky, you can deduct whatever percentage. So like if 60% of your income came from Kentucky, you can deduct 60% of those expenses on the Kentucky return also. So you do get those deductions, just not 100% of them, whatever your proportion of income might be. I had a question, not so much tax related, but more of getting maybe new employees who are kind of working in the financial departments here at WKU a little bit more up to speed. I know that I don't think most high schools are even offering accounting anymore. So they may be coming in with not a lot of financial skills. And, you know, I mean, they can take a free course at WKU if they're working here. So that's one option, I guess. But YouTube has a pretty amazing amount of, you know, free stuff. Yes. You have a question? Oh, you're just straight. Okay, yes. Okay, good. Sorry. I just don't want to miss anybody. But they have some pretty good videos and tutorials. You may have to be a little more intentional about it, like treat it as professional development or something to get people excited about doing it. Instead of just hoping they'll do it on their own. But you can do some pretty good searches there. That would be my best short-term fix on that kind of thing. And then the last thing I wanted to really leave you guys with is okay, so you can file your taxes online for free on some sites, but you got to be careful because if you have anything, if you took a course and you want to take the lifetime learning credit, that's going to bump you right out of that free filing site. They're going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. You got to have just very basic stuff. If you bought a window and you want to take that credit, you're not going to get to do that on a free filing site. But you can do it at these free preparation sites if your household income, I think double ARP said around maybe 66 or 60,000. And our VITA site, I volunteer at the Grayson County Alliance because I live in Grayson County on Monday afternoons. And I think our top is around 70,000 or more. So you could call the site and ask, like, what's the max income that we can have? But I reviewed a gentleman's tax return Monday evening, and he had 2 W-2s. He had worked 2 jobs, and he had taken a small distribution from his 401k. 3 pieces of tax documentation. I probably could have written the tax form out by hand faster than entering everything in the computer. I mean, it was really a very simple return. Jackson Hewitt was going to charge him over $250 to do his return. So don't if you can fit, if you fit into one of these sites, do it, you call, make an appointment, but if your income is in that range, he needed that $250 a lot more than Jackson Hewitt. So, I would recommend looking into that there too. So I think that's all I have.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you
thanks,
so much
guys,
for your time. I'll extend an invitation to any other faculty or staff members that have a presentation they would like to give to the staff senate. Reach out to one of your staff senate members or email staffsenate@wku.edu. We're a hot ticket, so there's a long list of folks that want to come and present. So give us a good sales pitch. We'll get you in the rotation. We'll move on to our reports. Regent Brinkley.
Yes, the board had committee meetings on January the 19th. It was the first calendar meeting of the year. We will follow those with the regular board meeting in early March. On the academic affairs side, there were 9 action items. I do not sit on the academic affairs committee this year, so I had no participation in that. Finance and budget, we had 3 action items: the statement of revenues and expenditures. Some highlights from that are expenditures are up 2% ahead of the previous year in terms of spending. So we're spending at a 2% higher rate overall as a university than we were in the previous fiscal year as of the end of the calendar year. Revenue is 1% ahead of the previous year to date. So we're 1% higher on the revenue side. Personnel expenses are 48% of the budget mid-year. So if you look and imagine that you spend 100% in a calendar year, personnel at the midpoint logically would be 50%. If it's at 48, we're 2% under. However, that number accelerates as people get hired and other people don't leave. So it could very easily eclipse 50% for the second half of the year because you could be spending more money on more people. There were personnel actions that we approved. We of course approved the revenue expenditures. That's a statement. There's not really any consequence if we vote it down. It just means that we don't approve the form that it was presented in. It's not going to cause anything to come to a screeching halt. Personnel actions are have been reformatted, and those were a function of what the president is allowed to present to the board and approve. And unless we have some reason not to approve those that is outside of a mechanism of budget spending, which there were not, then we typically approve those. I did have to abstain from action item 3 because I am part of WKU Public Broadcasting. We had our audit reports as action item 3 in finance and budget. I was very happy to see that those were approved by the board. On the student affairs side, there were no action items. That has been, for some reason, typical so far in this last year and a half. And on the executive committee side, there were no action items. There was also no closed session in this committee meeting. That is the kind of sum total of what happened in the committee meetings. There was a person made available near the end of the meeting to address any questions that arose related to Hilltopper Hall. However, just to point out to everyone in this room, the board has no purview or no responsibility over the Student Life Foundation. We are not responsible, nor can we take any financial vote or action related to any properties that we do not own. None of the dorms, residence halls are owned by the university. Those are all owned by the Student Life Foundation. So if it happens under their purview, it's their responsibility, not ours. There were no questions for that individual as that topic was pretty fresh and not a lot of people had enough information to really ask him. So that's my report. Anybody, as always, my last official meeting as the regent will be June the 7th, which is the special called budget approval meeting. It's been a pleasure. If you all have any questions, please let me know. You can reach out via email if you want to do it on campus. My WKU staff regent at Gmail is an anonymous way to reach out to me. And if you need my cell phone number, I'm happy to provide it to anyone here. That's it.
Thank you. Senator Benson.
No report.
Thank you. Senator Henry.
Usual statement balance report.
E&G index, starting balance $3,668, no changes, ending balance $3,668. Our staff Senate excellent fund, starting balance $1,990.42. Ending balance $2,060.77 with an addition of $18.35. Our book scholarship fund, starting balance $1679.84, addition of $10 for ending balance of $1,689.84.
Vice Chair Sol.
No report.
Thank you. And me. So I think my report for January is fairly simple. It was a short month. I think, as most people know, there were a few snow days in there. So I hope everybody stayed warm. I know quite a few people were here working on campus so that we could get back. So appreciate that. A little bit of the busy work this month. We clearly have a staff region election that's ongoing. So the committee responsible for that, there's been a lot of communication about it. I'll say previous senates have done a whole lot of work to make that process much smoother. I think we'll look back at how this year goes and see about any adjustments we need to make going forward, but that process, I think, is working out well so far. As we teased during our last meeting, we're launching the staff senate election today. Those nominations will be formally communicated later. But based on how our elections have run, the special elections last couple of years, we will have 19 seats available. So I hope people have been encouraging their colleagues to run, people they trust that might serve well in the staff senate. But right now there are 3 elected members that will roll over and 1 appointed member that will roll over. Anyone on the senate that is currently in a seat, no one is at risk of their term limit, so you may elect to run again, and other members of the WKU community that have been employed for at least a year on July 1st, 2024 are eligible to run. The way that really works is we have a certain number of slots based on EEO categories and the population of those categories, and then we have, if we don't have enough people to fill those, or at-large seats. It's been a few years since we've had enough people to fill every EEO category. So if it's something you think you would like to do, I cannot encourage you enough to run during the first election. If you have any questions, and I say first election because we don't fill it the first time, we'll do a special election. So met with the president in January. A lot of our conversations were around both the development of the WKU budget and state appropriations as those proposals were in committee. Then just kind of conversations about what was on the table at that time that might impact WKU staff and then sort of the future here. I think that wraps it up. I would like to open the floor for any old business. Okay, any new business that anybody has? Okay, and we reserve time for public comment. So if anybody that's not a member of the Senate would like to address the Senate, this is your opportunity to do that. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our announcements and notable events. So clearly we have the staff region candidate forum today at about 11. I think we're on track now to have that start right at 11. You can join us in DSU 2081 or watch on YouTube. So most people hearing me are probably watching on YouTube right now. It'll be the same place, same channel, that kind of thing. Almost made a Batman joke, but also draw your attention to two award nominations that are open. The Staff Excellence Awards are being accepted through the 12th. Those categories include customer service, teamwork, student support, unsung hero, part-time, and WKU affiliate award. There's an email about this that really lays everything out. There's a link in our agenda to the nominations forms. I've served on that committee before, and it is a tremendous amount of great stories. A lot of them, just like the Staff Star Awards we hear. So I'd encourage anybody who's nominated someone for a Staff Star Award to take a look at that nomination and see what they line up to with the Staff Excellence Awards, and invest that time in recognizing your colleague. As well, the President's One WKU Award. WKU's honored members of the campus community, a faculty member, a staff member, and a student who make extraordinary contributions and have achievements in advancing diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging ensuring all are treated with dignity and respect. The award is intended to encourage dialogue and action through advocacy, role modeling, scholarship, and service. Those are open through this Friday the 9th. There is more information in our agenda as well as the email that communicated this to the community about guidelines for nominating folks for that. Our next meeting is slotted for, our next staff senate meeting is slotted for March 6th. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'll go ahead and make that joke now. It'll be 10 a.m. on the 6th. I think we'll have another guest speaker, but TBD on exact content of that one. And then I don't want anybody to have an opportunity not to speak. So if I missed anybody or you didn't know when to bring something up,